that in there.
You didn't even hear it. Ready?
Yes.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Church Podcast. My name is PJ.
And I'm Blake.
Today's episode is number 28, and we are going over cultural value, be excellent. All right, so be excellent was one of the cultural values of our ex-church, and
Were you thinking of what to say, or were you going to say something?
well, I think slowly and talk slowly, so
Okay.
I was doing both.
Oh. So I wanted to
You gotta
say...
slow down when you do that type of thing.
When you think slow?
Think slow and talk slow.
Oh.
It's much better than not thinking and talking real fast like some people. Not you.
No, I wasn't thinking that.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at my notes here, and I was reading what our old church said that excellence was, and then I was like, why didn't we Google what excellence was? So then I Googled it, and it's really funny.
What?
Because, so first, at our ex-church, this is how they said excellence was. This wasn't written in stone, but this is what they would say over and over again, was that excellence is doing the best with what you have. So if you can't afford $1 million building, obviously you can make the building that you're in excellent by making sure it's clean, and just things like that. But the actual definition of excellence is the quality of being outstanding or extremely good, which is super relative to to individuals. So anyway, I thought that was interesting because that's not even the real definition of excellence, but that's what they would say. So.
Wait, what's not the real definition?
Doing the best with what you have.
Oh, because they said that.
Yeah, it's all the time they said that.
Yeah.
And that was so frustrating because that is also still, relative to the person. So, say they want to make a poster and have all these crazy things on it. What if the person making that doesn't know how to do all those crazy things yet? So what they can do is the best with the skills and knowledge that they have.
That's interesting. That's interesting because there were times that I wanted to go on a vacation or go visit family, and what does somebody who works full time do when they need a vacation? They go on their weekend, but Sunday is the weekend. That's when church happens. Mm-hmm. So what do you do then? Well, you have to train other people to do your job. Well, then what happened then at our church? They would never be as good as you because you taught them everything that they know about it, unless you happen to find somebody who did that by profession and was highly talented, typically paid to do those things, and then somehow convince them to
do it for free.
To run your department on a Sunday. It just didn't happen. It hardly ever happened. And when it did happen, those were the people that were just highly manipulated. They weren't just asked to help. They were groomed to be a pawn and to be. And I don't want to be like. There's so much that goes into what I just said,
Yeah.
and stuff I don't even know. I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a therapist. Mm-hmm. But it's just I just know because I was there and it happened to me and I saw it happen to other people. Normal people just didn't come in and do jobs, So basically, back to the excellence thing, it was always the most excellent to just do it yourself, and there was definitely some kind of correction coming if you took a vacation and something went wrong that Sunday. It was going to be your fault.
Right. It's I'm not there. I don't know how that's my fault. Yeah. The computer broke. okay, and the person who was there didn't know how to fix it. Well, you know what? I wouldn't know how to fix it either. So I don't know why also the computer breaking is my fault when I've been asking for new equipment also, you know.
Right.
But I feel like with that, it's like it was so difficult because the executive senior pastor especially, just because she was the one who like worked with us the most, would like tell us all the time how stuff wasn't excellent. And it was really frustrating because she doesn't know how to play guitar, for example. So you telling somebody that they played that song badly when they probably didn't even do that, that doesn't make any sense for you to say something like that, you know? And like, I feel like she would say that all the time about like videos and stuff and saying how like it wasn't good enough. And it's like, well, you don't know how to do any of that stuff. So you actually can't judge whether or not it's excellent.
Yeah.
You can say whether you like it or not, which is fine, but don't try to like hammer this cultural value down on me when I did do an excellent job. And it's not like she would just say, do you think this is excellent or not? Did you do the best with what you had? And if I said yes, then she could be like, okay, well, then great. That's the best we can do right now.
Okay, great. I still don't like it, but it's not your fault. I'll find some way to help you do better in your department and find resources or training or something for you to do better. That's what a good boss would do.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this isn't up to the standard that I think it should be because you don't have enough equipment or you don't have enough people.
Yeah,
or you don't have enough training. Okay, let me help you get those things. Yes,
you don't
exactly.
have what you need. I mean, that would be logical. If you did the best with what you had and you said that, it doesn't do anything but hurt people to be like skeptical of them and doubt them and then make them feel bad because you just doubted them, not because you actually know they didn't do their best.
Right.
That is just so bad.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was going to say too, like if it was a healthy organization, if it wasn't so manipulative, and I almost want to say if churches weren't so manipulative, but I know they're not all, but I feel like a lot of them are. But if they were healthy, then being excellent would mean them communicating better, training better. If you don't like what you're getting out of your people, well, then you need to do something better.
Yeah.
And they just got mad. Mm-hmm. They just got mad and talked smack.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say 100% of the time because that's just not fair. There were moments, I think, where they did kind of do good sometimes, but overall...
we wouldn't have stayed there if it was like that 100% of the time. Well, I don't think
it's
so.
Hard to say. It's hard to say because there was so much brainwashing.
Yeah, and I think also to add to what you're saying is that if you said, oh, I don't have this equipment or I need more people, it then would go back to how, well, you're just a shitty leader then. You really can't figure out a way to get that equipment. Come on, be creative.
Yeah, do a fundraiser, do a bake sale.
But then there were people, that's funny that you say that, because there were a couple of people who tried to do things like that to raise money for their specific departments, and then
were they selfish for only raising money for their own department?
They got in trouble because they shouldn't ask people to give to just a specific thing. They need to ask people to just tithe or to give the church as a whole, and then leadership gets to decide where the money goes. Isn't that ridiculous? People literally got in trouble for trying to raise money for their department, even though they weren't getting any money from the church.
Well, that's narcissism, and it's interesting. We were talking last night, and like they were truly narcissists. And it really was never ever about these things. Being excellent wasn't about that.
Yeah.
It was about, like, I'm the boss. I want to feel powerful. I want to feel good. I want it to be about making me look good. So if it was my idea to do a bake sale, great. If it wasn't my idea, then I have to find some way to be better than you and make you feel bad for your idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if it helped the organization grow. It didn't. It literally didn't.
No. That is funny.
I'm looking at my notes.
Oh.
Yeah, you already said one of my notes.
Oh.
I have one. So being excellent. There was a guy who lost his wallet in my apartment complex, and so I found him on Facebook, messaged him, and like within a few minutes he got back to me and was like, "Oh man, I didn't even realize it was gone." And so he came and he was like a security watch person, and so he was driving around, doing his job and stuff. And so he came by. Harrow's crying.
Yeah.
Let's see if she goes to bed soon.
So give it a couple minutes.
Yeah. If you hear someone screaming and crying, it's just
She's fine.
baby. Just trying to take a nap. There was an opportunity for excellence with this guy because he was a Christian of some kind, a newer Christian. He told me he struggled with drugs and all this, and he was clean, and he was going to church. I don't know if he was going to one church or if he was just looking around, but he was a pretty nice guy. Turned out to be a pretty religious guy. He had a lot of Bible knowledge and stuff, so he came. I invited him and he came on Sunday, and of course the stuff that came out of the pastor's mouth was like not always like 100, right? Mm-hmm. And so he raised his hand in service, and I already knew, well, it doesn't even matter who knew it. We don't know that this guy isn't a completely unchurched guy, and that's exactly who we're after. Mm-hmm. And literally, like, the security team was on him, like the executive senior pastor went over there because they weren't doing good enough, and she like sat right next to him and told him to shush, and he started to say something more, and she pretty much, I don't know if she threatened to call the cops. What the heck was that?
See, that's what I was hearing. I thought it was a wasp.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Okay.
Let's
We
pause
gotta
it.
pause. Okay, the wasp is dead now.
So anyway,
So you were talking about that guy's raising his hand.
so this guy was like trying to communicate with the pastor during service, which if you're a church person, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That man's job is to talk. It's our job or our honor to listen. If you're in the crowd, you don't raise your hand. You don't have input on this. We don't care.
I mean, he was thinking it was like a class, like a classroom.
I don't know.
I mean,
I think part of what he was thinking was that he had a problem with what the pastor was saying. He didn't agree. It wasn't biblical what he was saying. And so, instead of seeing this as an opportunity to possibly convert somebody who is very passionate about Christianity, who could maybe, this person could like change the world. He just was like misguided with his
he didn't know social
zeal.
etiquette.
He didn't understand church etiquette, or he didn't care because he wanted to make sure that they weren't like spreading false truths, which I think in a way that's a good thing, but they were too egotistical and insecure. Does those go together? Egotistical and insecure, to allow that, and so they ran him off, and he left a review. They attacked him on the reviews. She attacked him on the reviews.
Of course.
And
what did his review say? Like that he was trying to ask a question and they didn't like.
No, it was something about like false. These are false prophets, false teachers.
Oh.
You know, don't go to this church, basically.
Oh.
So that was one example of them not doing their job with excellence.
Yeah.
And another one was with a guy who was really super mellow, super like happy guy, hardworking guy, college age guy, cool. You know, as were most people there, well, a lot of people there, and he was involved. He wanted to like help in different ways, but he was getting married and moving away because he was from a different place. He was visiting for college, and so when their attempts to keep him from moving failed, they just let him go. Mm-hmm. And it's like, you're so stupid. Like, you're trying to build the church. Somebody who does that with excellence would have seen that as an opportunity to send him with resources, hire him, maybe, help him get a location to do like a second campus type of thing. And that just didn't happen. And
it's so funny because their mission was to reach the world.
Right. My point is that they were, this cultural value and all of the cultural values really were just for the tribesmen. It wasn't for the chiefs. Like, you guys need to be excellent. We'll tell you when you're not excellent. We'll give you some props when you are excellent, but don't you dare call us out for not following the cultural values. This is how everyone wins.
Yeah. Yeah. And yes, exactly. So I have another example.
Yeah.
It was when my ex was like preaching for, I think it was like his first time preaching on Sunday or something. And he had this idea that he wanted to pass out chocolate covered strawberries to everyone. I think because they were like coming in or like during the middle of his message or something. And so he got this idea at like, I don't know, 10 o'clock on Saturday night when he was finishing up his message. And so the person who was like at the time in charge of the media department, so like the person I was under, was also in charge of like the prop team. So it's his responsibility to make sure that these chocolate covered strawberries got there. And so all of the places that made chocolate covered strawberries at that time were closed. And even the grocery stores that were still open, they didn't have any chocolate covered strawberries, and wouldn't have any more until the morning. But for some reason it was like too late or something, because like they wouldn't have had it for first service, but they would have maybe been able to get them for second and third or something. And so the guy was like, okay, well, we can't get chocolate covered strawberries, but we can get regular strawberries. And the like executive senior pastor lost it. She was so mad because she was saying that wasn't excellent to get just regular strawberries. They had to be chocolate covered strawberries. And so she was getting mad at him because his standards were too low. And his whole thing was, so they were arguing like a pretty heated argument. And I was sitting there trying to finish a video, like listening. And these two just did not get along as it is. So like anything that they disagreed on turned into like, kind of a huge blowout. And so he was like, well, we could, yes, go buy chocolate, then go buy strawberries, dip them ourselves, like get volunteers here, but I think it's more excellent for me to go home, spend at least an hour with my wife, and then get some rest so that I can be like my best tomorrow, which Sunday is supposed to be game day, so you're like, it would be great if you could be well rested for all the new people that are supposed to be coming. And
side note,
yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being all in, with working hard, with going above and beyond sometimes, but the nature of that place was just so backstabbing and narcissistic that was a weekly event, almost daily event, was doing things in excess, excessive work, excessive correction. Anyway.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, last minute I had this idea, we have to do it by Sunday, otherwise like people are going to hell or something. And it's like, well, what we had planned was actually like really good, and we can do it with excellence, and we're not going to be able to do it with excellence if we all stay up till 2 a.m. The band's going to miss some notes, and anyway, so they were at a disagreement there, and the executive senior pastor was saying, like, you're going to ruin, like, his whole message, and, like, was saying that he was selfish and all this stuff. And in the end, there was just regular strawberries. And everyone loved it. No one knew, oh, these were supposed to be chocolate or whatever. Everyone just thought it was, like, a really cool prop in general to have, like, something you could eat that he was, like, talking about.
Right.
It, like, literally did not matter that it had chocolate on it or not. It was just like a cool thing.
Let's not forget to mention how much it was inexcellent to inexcellent.
I don't know.
I need to memorize the dictionary. How there was a lack of excellence when it came to loving one another at this place.
Yes.
Like the number one command, like, love one another. Like, that whole example. Just a total drop in excellence as far as how we treat each other.
Yeah.
And respect each other's opinions and what we want to do with our own life. It's like, he wanted to go home to his family. Enough said. Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up about it. It's not a discussion.
Yeah.
Which, you want to end it? You done? Or did you have another point?
Well, I was thinking of something else to say, but...
Okay. I want to end it on, like, how we were talking last night about, like, having, like, a positive note.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
But if you have more negative notes, I want to get those out first.
Oh, well, I think just the last thing I was thinking was that cultural values are supposed to be what you are, not what you aspire to be, which is the exact definition, their definition of excellence, is doing the best with what you have.
Right.
And admitting when you're not up here and down here, and that's excellent for you, and that's okay.
Right.
And so acting like we had to be way up here when we didn't have the people or the skills or the money or the time to do that at that specific moment is okay, and there's nothing wrong with that, and people are not going to go to hell because somebody didn't stay up till 2 a.m. dipping chocolate.
Yeah.
It's like, wouldn't it have been so much better if you go home, get rest, and then actually have a great conversation with a new person the next day because your head is clear?
No, it was just a chance for her to get her ego fix. An ego fix.
Yeah.
It was like, you really actually didn't thrive there unless you had a big ego and were willing to make waves about it. Like, I really appreciate your drive. No, that's just egotistical. Like,
Yeah.
You just like arguing and making everybody feel sick around you because you do everything better. Or don't even do everything better, but you think better. Anyway,
go ahead. That was all I had to say.
I wanted to share a quick story because I was watching this guy on YouTube. His name's Wes Watson, And if you guys don't know who Wes Watson is, you should look him up. He's really cool. And he was talking about how he's an ex-con, and he has completely changed his life around and is pretty successful. And he was talking about when he was in his cell, excuse me, in the beginning he hated it. But that changed into doing the best with what he had, basically. And cleaning and buffing his sink and his toilet on a daily basis, making his bed, like smuggling cologne in so he could like put a little bit on his bed, smuggling like detergent in so their stuff could smell fresh and stuff. And it's like, I mean, he's like a hard looking guy, and he got into like a lot of fights and did, you know, prisoner stuff. And but along that whole time frame, he was making the most of it with what he had, as far as possessions, as far as like his space, as far as his health, and eventually with his mind and his heart and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that was interesting. It's like, if you're a person of excellence, which we were not, you wouldn't gripe about your prison toilet. You would just polish the fuck out of that thing and make it clean and keep it nice and keep your prison floor nice. And it's like, wherever you're at in life, no matter what circumstance you're at in life, like, you can be excellent. Mm-hmm. And it's not about arguing over who can do it better or who has the best idea about what excellence should be, or what, you know, what you're doing that is or isn't your best effort. Mm-hmm. It's not about that. And so brings me to my positive note.
Yeah.
So we were talking last night with some loved ones, and it did make me think about, which I've already been thinking about, but I guess I feel like maybe a little bit more now that I have some like direction with my thinking about that, you know, and that we want to not just address all the negative things that we think about church, mm-hmm. or our ex-church, or you know, our future church if we decide to go to church again. So I want to kind of inject some positivity into the stuff that we talk about. And I don't know if this is like super positive, but I'm this is my first day. Working on it. If you're listening to this, I don't want it to just be like, oh, you should hate church people, or you should hate people that hurt you. I don't think that's what I want to communicate. We're sharing our story, but I want it to help people in some way. Mm-hmm. And so I think the least you can take away from my positive note is that if you're in a place feeling bad because of what people are asking of you, or making you think about your salvation or your spirituality, it's okay and it's possible to exit that situation, and you should exit that situation. Mm-hmm. Like, specifically, I was thinking about like this when we were talking about volunteering. Let me double check my note. I just feel like there was a lot of guilt if you didn't do things to their standard of excellence. And that has nothing to do with your salvation. It has nothing to do with your spirituality or knowing God. And if you have those kind of feelings, like, get the heck out. Like, it's okay. Yeah. It's okay to take care of yourself. And that's actually the only way to ever be helpful to anyone else. And that's, I don't want to go back to like negativity, but that's why that place ended, is because it was all about it was all about like how can we make these people happy, until ultimately I just collapse and crack and literally like lose it,
Yeah.
like and self-sabotage your own life, or start drinking too much. I mean, they themselves were addicts.
Yeah.
Let's just be honest. And so the positive note is that's not all there is to life. You can know God and you can go to a different church. That's okay.
Yeah, and I would add to that too that also what we were talking about last night. No one like can tell you that God isn't speaking to you, or that, oh, well, God says this and so he can't be saying that to you. You know, like only you know the relationship that you have with God, and you just have to trust your gut and trust your own self more than you like trust other people.
Yeah.
I would say, because that's the only way. Like I was feeling like before we left, I was feeling like I wanted to go for quite a while, and I didn't quite know how to get out of there, you know. And you were kind of feeling the same way, and so
It's like, how do you leave a place that you hate when you feel like God put you here?
right. Even though I had a relationship with God before I went to that church, and so it's not like I could only have a relationship with God there, because I had one before I got there. So
Yeah.
I knew I was going to have one when I left, no matter what. So, yeah, I would just say
Everyone, even to the very top of the most megatist church there is, this is just their best interpretation. They're not hearing an audible message from God and writing it down on fucking paper every week. That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, open your eyes and see that you can have the same kind of like initiative with your own life and choose what you want to do. If you don't want to start a church like they did, you don't have to. That doesn't mean you're not spiritual as this person, or
Yeah.
or whatever. And since we've left, just by being gone, there's been so much more happiness and freedom and joy and growth to like discover and engage with what we actually want to do with our time here. You know, and it's a process, because, you know, going from that place, there's issues now, like trust issues or whatever. But overall, it's like getting over a sickness, like leaving the place like that. It's like so much better and healthier now.
Yeah.
And happier. I was gonna say happy, healthy, happier, healthier. I mean, yeah, just nobody should be submitted to anyone else.
Yeah.
It's not a thing. It's not a thing. Submit, and not in the way that it's like, I'm gonna drive 1,000 miles per hour down the freeway then because I don't submit. Like, you know.
That's just being an idiot.
No, it's just like, you know, like in the way churches make it seem to be, or even bosses. You know, some bosses. It's like, like if I could leave this job if I don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm free.
Yeah. You get a
This is
job
America.
anywhere else.
Yeah. So anyway, this has been episode 28.
Yep.
I keep forgetting.
Pretty sure it's 28.
Did you delete the notes already?
No.
Oh. Yep. So this has been episode 28-P. Oh, is that because that was my notes?
No, because you're introducing it, because we go every other one.
Oh, sorry.
So I put -B or -P, whoever's introducing me.
If you have any feedback or thoughts about that, or input on how we can grow or get better, or just whatever resources, please comment. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. If you want to support us,
Oh, we have to say thank you to our very first patron.
we have a patron, and we want to say thank you, and we love you. And what a monumental moment.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah. So, I guess that's it.
Yeah, and if you would like to become a patron too, the link is below. Scroll down
Link
a
is
little bit.
below. Link is in our Instagram bio. We need to put it on Facebook, I think. But you don't have to feel obligated to do that. That's only if you feel like you want to. There's a little bit of benefits with doing that, but yep. Bye.
Bye.